I have one.
Okay.
Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Disclosure of actual or potential conflicts of interest.
I'm not aware of any.
Did you want to speak?
Yep.
Okay, do you want to bring it up? Something like topic? Just something for me.
Okay, communication from the public. I have one here for Judd, and the topic to be addressed is discussion. So Judd, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. So I have a question for Mr. Chairman. When there's a line item on the agenda that the public would like to make a comment on, do you think that it should be allowed for the public to be able to make a comment when you're at that line item on the agenda? Or when would that comment from the public be acceptable to the board if there's a question while discussion is taking place by the board?
Well, we don't have a discussion there at public comment. You could comment on that line item at this time if you would like.
So most of your line items are very elusive on what exactly is going to be talked about. So if the member of the public would have something to add or a question before they got voted on, when would be the appropriate time, or are we allowed to maybe put some public input into things that are line items on the agenda after we learn more information about what they're about?
Well, Judd, I think a great time would be to come in. The agenda is posted. You could stop in my office, ask what questions. I could then advise the board as there are concerns about these line items, how do we want to handle that?
Okay, would a phone call suffice?
Sure.
Okay. I was just curious. So once they're being discussed by the board, the public is not allowed any comment on that discussion then. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's why I understand it, yes.
Okay.
But
Even if it may be beneficial to the board, we're still not allowed to raise our
that would be up
hand.
to the chairman if he would want to take any more comments on that.
Is that your position, Mr. Olson, as well?
Pardon?
Is that your position as well?
Yeah.
Because you're the chairman, so the question was directed towards you.
Yeah.
So I have another question for the chairman here. Can you elaborate why you recused yourself from the investigation of Superintendent Patrick Frederick? Can you elaborate to the public why you recused yourself?
No, not at this time.
After recusing yourself, can you elaborate to the public why you felt it was crucial for you to come back during the final meeting after missing so many executive sessions and be a part of the final decision-making process after recusing yourself? Don't you feel like you missed a lot of information in all the executive sessions prior to that?
No comment.
Okay, I'll go on to my next question. Do you feel that it was appropriate to place the members of the public out of the building into the cold and rain while the board convened an executive session for over 3 hours that evening? Do you feel that was appropriate?
I don't think we directed the public to stand out in the rain.
Actually, The school board, you're the chairman of the school board. The lawyer is the one who directed us to evacuate the building and stand out in the cold and rain. You are the chairman of the board, elected by the people of this community. It is your meeting. Therefore, you allowed for the public to step out, to be forced outside into the cold and the rain. I'm curious how the rest of the board members felt about all of us being put out there. I mean, can I get a roll call vote to ask the rest of the board members what their opinions are of it?
Judd, this is public comment. This is not question and answer time.
Are you not elected by the public here? I mean, are we not allowed to ask our public servants questions? Do you know that 2 members of the public that night came down with pneumonia after being forced outside? Are you aware of that? Has any apologies been made to the people who came down with pneumonia, or any of us that were not prepared and had to stand out with no coats or out in the cold? No building was prepared for us to go into to keep us protected. I'm curious how the board stands on these issues. So I'm also curious about the victim. Has anybody from the board reached out to her and offered an apology for the way things were handled through the whole situation? I'm sure I'm not going to get an answer or no comment to that one as well. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
I have a couple items to add to the agenda. Item 137.6. Motion to surplus tech-hire equipment would be middle school lockers. And item number 149.3. Approve contract for Laurel Huddleston, MGS instructor. No, I just adding that. Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda. By Caleb.
I'll second.
Second by Scott. More discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Scott. Second by Dallas. Board discussion. I went through the bills, everything was okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Administrative and committee reports. The only thing I have is we got a 3 hours meeting on Wednesday, and in that meeting they're going to approve speech therapist contract for, and that's already there, and then the contract will depend on how negotiations come out with on our end. And that's all I have. Stacy?
Okay, I don't have too much. Staffing needs, we've hired some already. We are currently needing at the grade school, a 4th grade teacher, a PE teacher, and a counselor. And we've got some applications, so we will be conducting interviews. Middle school's PE and health. High school music, we did actually offer a contract today, so hopefully that will be completed. And elementary and high school principal interviews will begin this week. The school had an opportunity to go to all the schools, not last week, the week before. They're running well. Things are happening there. Teachers are doing a great job. Kids seem to be busy and on task. I didn't get to talk to everybody, but I talked to a lot of people, and I felt good about that. The only other thing, I have graduation May 11th and 11 o'clock, correct, Mrs. Larson?
That's correct.
In the Warrior Center.
That's correct.
So we'll be working with Mrs. Larson and Andy, right, to get all the details there. So that's all I really have.
Questions? Just to let you know, Dallas will be handing out their diplomas.
Okay,
My granddaughter's graduating.
okay. Dallas is the guy. We'll do that. All right.
Congratulations. Thank you, Stacy. Great.
You have my report there, I won't read it all to you, but I'll just highlight a few things. We held the annual week of work on April 4th, went really well. Students were engaged and interested. Ms. Larson and Ms. Andrea Fanning did an amazing job of organizing everything with some last minute changes that took place. That was a really good day for the high school. As a lot of you know, FFA's been competing different places around the state trying to qualify for the state events. And I believe we have 16 students who have qualified for the state events. So that's great for our first year back in FFA. Mr. Anson has done an amazing job in his first year building that agricultural program. He had 1 class this year, and we have 6 next year. 5 next year. So just in 1 year, he's built up that much student interest. So it's been great. Forward to that program getting bigger and bigger. We took the Smart Balance assessment. Results are starting to roll in now. So I don't have those for you yet. And the National Honor Society did their annual induction ceremony on April 10th. And that went well as well. We did also offer a contract for a music teacher today, which a music teacher from Newell, she accepted.
Any questions? Thank you, Greg. Michaela?
I'm going to go backwards on mine because I have some teachers here to talk a little bit. Our testing update, we've got about preliminary data starting to come in. About 90 of our students' math test scores have started to come in. So we're getting that data back. Last week we had book character day, so students dressed up as their favorite book character. We have some other things coming up in the year that they'll be able to participate in. The 8th graders took a field trip to the School of Mines on April 4th. They have a cultural expo up there. We took kids last year, and we feel like this is a really good thing for the 8th graders. The students at School of Mines put together a day where they set up different cultural booths, and they go through and they have a passport book, and they have to go to each booth and listen to their presentation, ask questions before they can get a stamp. The other really cool thing is they get to go through the museum, and they get to eat on campus. And eating on campus, they know why freshmen get fat, because that is their favorite part, is getting to eat at school. So we had middle school student chat and family chat on April 3rd and 4th, and that was the group that comes from Rapid City. They visited with a bunch of our students, and we had quite a few families come in that evening. We had some discussions. We will be finishing up that information to get that out to everybody at the end of April. And then we went to the SDA MLE, which is the South Dakota Association of Middle Level Educators Conference, a couple weeks ago. I'm on the board with that, and so I asked some of my teachers to attend and to present. And so, and also at that, Mrs. Kaltenbach was presented with the Outstanding Middle Level Educator Award. So that was really exciting. All right, so between Julie and Janine, you guys get to present on what you learned there.
I'm going to just say a couple quick things that I've already done. One was something I had heard before. It was like a vocabulary activity where one person sits, they face each other, and then one's facing the screen. You put up a word, they try to explain what the word is, and the person that's not looking at it tries to guess. In the past, it's been like you do 3, 4, 5 words and then switch. This was having them switch right away. And I like that because then if the student wasn't sure about one word, they didn't get freaked out about 4 or 5 there, they could then switch and kind of regroup. Kids really enjoyed that. The other one was like a trivia game, but you created I created 3 separate questions. The kids were put in groups of 3. They came up and they had 5 minutes to try to answer as many of them as they could. And then I changed it a tad where the kids switched and had different questions. So each group had different questions. And they really seemed to enjoy that as well. So, and then there's a Wise Me. We were told about an interactive worksheet that had a lot of different interactive things. I haven't had a chance to check that out, but I want to see if I could somehow incorporate that with some of my Nearpod stuff.
We're supposed to stand up.
Oh.
At the same AMLE conference, what I liked about it was the presenters were teachers and principals and administrators that were actually from the state of South Dakota. They weren't people that consulted in California or New York and got to come here to talk to us. They were actually educators in South Dakota. So when you introduce yourself and you say Bennett County, the first thing that I got said was, "Oh, Stacy Halverson." I said, "Yep, Stacy Halverson." I presented on loving what you do. And if I get teary, I'm sorry. This has been a stressful year. But I've had a student teacher, and you have to be prepared. You have to be consistent in what you do. And you have to be confident in what you do. And sometimes that's pretty hard. But I've had 3 outside entities observe in my classroom this year. And every one of them, when they talked to me after it was over, said, "You really love what you do." And it shows. So I wanted to say that to the people I presented to. And then the last thing is our keynote speaker's name was Ryan Munson, and he's the guidance counselor at Riggs High School in Pierre. And he took me off guard a little bit. He's a big man. He had on a blue suit, but he didn't have on a white shirt and tie. He had on a Hawaiian shirt underneath his suit coat. And he talked about how he always liked to go to an island, and he loved islands and being on islands. And now he's in South Dakota, and it's a landlocked state. But he talked about how, in our own ways, each one of us are really on an island. Sometimes we feel like we're all by ourselves, and the things that come our way, sometimes we don't understand, and we feel like we need to throw an SOS bottle out in the water and somebody come and save us. So he was a real encouragement, and he talked about how middle school brains aren't quite connecting, and that shocks everybody, but it actually is a scientific fact. They aren't exactly connected, and it was a real encouragement, and I appreciate Michaela asking all of us to go and presenting for the first time was, Kendall Rissy told me it was a good experience for me, so I'll take that. And getting an award was a complete surprise, but it was an encouragement also.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go back to Stacy.
I forgot a couple things. Building, we've been meeting with the middle school building. We have had a couple really good meetings. Dallas is on that building level committee, and he probably has better notes than I do, but trying to get up to speed on that project and what's going on. And so I'm going to ask Dallas if he would kind of give that
Sure.
report.
Yeah,
For me.
like you mentioned, Stacy and myself met with the construction team over there. Plenty of questions. There's been personnel changes between both entities, so a lot of questions. I feel all were addressed and progress is moving forward. This morning I contacted Casey from Dean Kurtz. He's the site manager over here. The rundown that he gave me was drywall is 95% complete. tape, texture, and paint is 80% complete, and the epoxy floors were finished over the weekend.
And they're beautiful. We were in there today and looked at them. They're very
Yeah.
nice, very nice.
Yep. This week on his schedule, he's got ceramic and tile starting in the bathrooms. We got acoustical ceiling installation beginning. Cabinets and casework should be delivered by the end of the week. He's hoping they'll get started on that when they get here. Mechanical, electrical is all making steady progress. As far as outside, we've got some deals kind of running into there, but all is taken care of, I feel. They're going to install the storm and sewer lines and tie in the roof drains with that deal.
Yeah.
So that's moving forward. Everybody I spoke with said that they're still optimistic to hit the deadline for completion. So I'm not much of a construction guy, but it seems like there's an awful lot.
Seems like there's a lot of moving parts right now, but it's moving.
Take their word for it and move forward with their plan. So other than that, that's all I have.
Thanks for filling up for that part for me.
You bet.
No, that was, I forgot.
Thank you. Riley.
We start state testing tomorrow, with grades 3 through 5, and then we'll have another, session next week. Our 4th and 5th grade last concert will be March 18th. We have kindergarten roundup set up for May 2nd. We had a good showing last year, so hopefully another good showing this year. Our elementary fun day will be May 15th down at the track. We'll do K through 2 in the morning, and then the 5th graders in the afternoon on that, just to make it a little easier day. It was hot last year. And then we got 2 home track meets this week, depending on weather, and then some golf meets coming up at the end of the month, and beginning of May as well, and then the athletic awards banquet is May 6th.
Start time for that is 6:30, is that correct?
Yes. And both track meets start at 10 a.m. this week.
And where's it gonna be at?
The athletic awards is at the AC. That's it.
Any questions? No. Thank you, Riley. Amy.
I'm gonna correct you. The 4th and 5th grade concert is
April, sorry.
Going back. I just have a couple things to add that were on my list. The family engagement private chats are done. We've got all the data. I think the overall theme from our students and our parents is teachers show that they really care about our students. And it was from the parents and the students. So that's really awesome. It kind of ties in with the CNA action plan. The high school had a lot to do with culture and climate in their school, and I think that's showing in some of the data we're getting back, which is cool. The action plans will be turned into the state again with revisions, so we're asking principals to get those turned in, and also look at what PD they're supposed to time with those. We are planning for summer school this year, but we're gonna try something a little different. We're gonna do camps, K through 8. We're gonna do a STEAM camp, a math camp, and a reading camp for 3 weeks, and then high school will do credit recovery for the 4 full weeks of June. And then I had a change on the original calendar. The family engagement parent meeting was scheduled, let's say the 22nd or 23rd. I had to move that to the 29th. And I would encourage all parents to come. Basically, we're going to review what went well, what they liked, what they would like to change, what would they like to add, and then review the goals for the school. So I encourage all parents to come and attend and staff if they would like to.
Questions? Thank you, Amy. Joe? Next on the agenda is discussion on the school resource officer program. You should have on your down list a sample agreement with the school district, I think, that you sent us.
On that note, I got a couple things I want to discuss with you real quick. So the school resource officer program, I know it's been discussed a little bit already by Jason. But right now, there's a current federal hiring grant opportunity out there for the sheriff's office that we are eligible for, which we can submit an application to actually fund 75% of the base salary for a school resource officer position. A couple of requirements if we put into that grant, it would not cover any overtime. It would require us to send the school resource officer to a 40-hour accredited school resource officer training program, which would be additional to the state mandated training that every officer has to do. It also mandates that within 90 days of us accepting the award agreement, we would have to enter into an MOU similar to one you have for each county within 90 days of us accepting the award. But we can put in for this, which would allow us to have that position, 75% of the base salary that would be covered by federal grants, and the county and the school that would be responsible for the remaining 25% of the base salary plus any overtime or anything additional to that. So that's something I wanted to bring up. If the interest is in there for the position, the deadline for me to submit that grant would be the middle of June.
Is that a one-year grant or is it a multi-year?
The grant is initially for 3 years. The award is given out for 5 years. And the reason it is a 3-year grant but a 5-year award, that gives us 2 years to get things in place if we need to. But at the end of that grant award, which would be 3 years, if the position would be eliminated or laid off based on the lack of the grant, that allows us to continually reapply for that grant opportunity every 3 years to keep that position with the COPS grant and keep it at that 75% if we can be lucky enough to have that awarded continually year after year.
Well, I have some questions.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you know what percentage of schools have an SRO in their?
Off the top of my head, I do not. I do know there are several within Rapid City. I know they're pretty heavy in Rapid City. Sioux Falls area, I think, is pretty heavily with the SROs as well as Lee County. Locally around here, I don't think Paducah does. I know some of the reservation schools have gone more towards the school sentinel program, which is different because the school sentinels, they're not sworn and certified law enforcement officers like a school resource officer would be. Beyond that, I can't really give you an exact answer. I could look that up if I came here tonight.
Okay. Another question I would have is like the coordination. As I read through the agreement, I think it was pretty clear in stating that the principal would still deal with any school matrix violation. The SRO deal with things that are criminal in nature.
Yeah.
And then also be there as a
for a number of things, the school resource officer, and it's been a while since I read the agreement, but it did outline in a lot of ways for certain things, the school resource officer is on the direction of the school, and for other things, the school resource officer is on the direction of the agency, which would be the sheriff's office. So really, in a way, the school resource officer reports to both the school and the law enforcement side. It's not an intrusion by law enforcement into the school. It's a partnership to work together with the school, to have somebody there to have a positive influence in the school. And it also allows us, I mean, we come into the school for a lot of things. We were just there a couple weeks ago for a career day and lost my voice talking all day to the kids, but I did get a lot of positive feedback on it. So I've had some parents come to me and express an interest in it. And so I came tonight to present the grant opportunity if the school is interested in moving forward with that position.
And the other one I wondered, they go to a training, so they're a regular police officer before.
Correct. Yeah, so
and then,
the school resource officer, being a sworn law enforcement officer, they have to complete all the same required training that any other cop has to do. In addition, especially with this grant mandates, that they have to do an additional 40-hour course specifically for being a school resource officer. And that is above and beyond the basic training of every other law enforcement officer.
so if the school got involved in this and agreed that this was the direction we wanted to go, are you the contact then?
Myself or Jason would be,
Jason would be
I'll
to
primarily
coordinate, because I think it would take an awful lot of discussions and coordination to make sure that it's successful. If the board chooses to do it, we want it to be successful.
Yes, certainly. And like I said, the the deadline for the grant is coming up in June.
In June, so the
Yeah.
board can make a decision at their May meeting and
Correct.
no problem.
Right. I'm willing to sit down and do the grant work and all that on it. My deadline is just the middle of June.
Okay, I don't know, that's one that I had. I don't think about that.
Is the
Yes.
resource officer hired then by the county?
Yes, so from my understanding, the school resource officer, because they are a sworn law enforcement officer, they are hired by the sheriff's office. Much to that agreement, it says in a lot of ways, because of their position as a school resource, their supervision is kind of divided up between the school and the sheriff's office. But officially, they are an employee of the sheriff's office, because then outside the school year, throughout the summer months, they'll be operating under the sheriff's office similar to any other law enforcement officer.
So the school district would be responsible for whatever, the 25% or whatever
Yeah, so
whatever it is, but would be from August to May?
A lot of that, would be similar to the agreement. I would go off with what Meade County had and use that as an example. But with the grant, that would cover the 75%. It would just then be between the school and the county to make a determination on how to address the remaining 25% of the base salary.
So the 3 months of summer that they would be working for the county, then,
From what I've read in the grant, I've been reviewing it, the grant does not make a distinction between school year versus non-school year. They just said 75% of the officer's base salary, they just won't cover overtime and some of the other fringe benefits like that, or equipment costs, that sort of thing. But they never made a distinction that I found in the grant listing that says we'll only cover the school year. So it would cover the entire calendar year, not just the school year.
How about the additional 40 hours of training? Who pays that?
So the training wouldn't be covered under the grant, it would be up to the school and the county, however that would be divided out. But that would just have to be done within the 6 months within hiring that officer.
What are the possibilities, because of the area that we live in, we're not, Sioux Falls, we're not a big district and stuff. The possibilities of hiring an SRO?
So I don't want to go too far into that. I've talked to an individual the other day, just this last weekend, and from what I was told, there is a local law enforcement officer that's operating in the community area already that is interested in taking up that position. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to him myself, but I've been told there is an officer that is interested in it.
so thinking about that, then another question just popped in.
Yes.
So is the school part of the hiring interview type committee?
I don't see any reason why the school would not be allowed to have an input in that.
Yeah, sit in or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I said, in a lot of ways, the school resource officer both reports to the school and the sheriff's office, so I don't see an issue why the school wouldn't be having input in the hiring. Any other questions?
It is something, if the board decides to go this route, and I thank you for the grant opportunity.
Yeah, not a problem. Like I said, I will put the legwork in on it. I just need, the blessing to move forward with it.
And the board would have we would have to get it going, because this lady over here is starting on her budget, and that'd be something that's have to go to that budget, so something that we're gonna have to decide one way or another. And if we decide that that's what we're going to do, I think we need to get the ball rolling, to that point. But I do thank you for your answering our questions. Anybody else have any questions here?
So I'd say, 14 days out of 15 or more, we don't have any legal problems in the school. We have occasional marijuana or something like that. We've had one fight this year. But what would the person be doing when he's not dealing with those?
For the majority of that, I believe whatever the school would like that individual doing. Just patrolling the halls, doing the security thing, doing door checks, or just being a positive role model in the students' lives. And creating a bond early on with the kids as they're growing up and being a positive impression with law enforcement. Whether you had that school resource officer come in in a regular police uniform, or if you have requested the school resource officer come in, dressed more in a polo and slacks, similar to what a teacher would be. It'd really be up to the school what you want them to be doing during that time.
Would you envision them being in all 3 schools or just the high school?
I would like to see the individual divide their time up amongst all the buildings rather than just be restricted to one. I don't think we can sit there and say, well, you're going to spend X number of hours here and X number of hours there, but just kind of play it by ear and be able to move through all the buildings. Be that positive role model to not only the older kids as they're getting ready to head off into college, but the younger ones as they're coming into the schools.
Well, you mentioned the law enforcement side and the positive climate, and then also there's another component in this one of education.
Yes.
So it could, put on some presentations or things on certain topics to staff maybe and or
Certainly.
students.
And I mean, we've come in, like I said, we've done career day. We came in, myself and Steve came in doing a presentation for the forensic science class within the past year. The school resource officer can also be very heavily involved with the freshman impact program as a liaison between the schools and the freshman impact program. There's a lot of areas where this fill in and be a role model and a positive part of the community and the schools.
Well, I would suggest it becomes a board item at the May meeting for you to decide.
If it goes through, he or she, whoever gets hired, is gonna teach the DARE program in the schools.
Okay,
That's gonna happen.
that would be great.
So I'm just throwing that out, so.
Does it affect anything, like, say a kid is a tribal member? Does that affect anything?
That's a question for.
In which respects, I guess?
Say you have a tribal member that lives on tribal ground, does that affect you guys and your ability to deal with those kids?
Obviously, when it comes to criminal stuff, we can't charge a tribal member for stuff like that on tribal land. But the sheriff's office does have a mutual operating agreement with the tribe, and we do have a very strong working relationship with them. So any issues that arise in that area, we have a very strong working relationship. We can bring that tribal officer in and work together to whatever resolution we may need to come to.
Mr. Brown, you said, we haven't had, thankfully, we haven't had tons of crimes at school. However, we do have lots of criminals at school. That if we could get, some things work out with the resource officer, I think it would just be a great relationship building with our kids who are struggling to do right or wrong. If the resource officer can build a relationship with them that, maybe I can't, you can't.
Yeah,
To turn them into turn them the right way instead of.
And when I went to high school, we had a school resource officer in my high school. He didn't come in dressed as a cop. He came in dressed much like any teacher would, slacks and a polo, and he went around and visited with the kids and students and socialized. And I recall it being a positive influence. He never had any issues talking to the students, and he would cut off some of the issues before they occur. So yeah, some things we as law enforcement, we can't always get through to everybody, and sometimes we reach out to other community partners such as teachers and counselors. And sometimes, like she said, a teacher can't necessarily get through, but maybe a law enforcement officer can, and maybe we can cut off some of the issues and get the kid on the right path before he ends up spending the life in the system.
How much do you guys work with the diversion program, or is that totally outside of the scope of what you guys do?
The diversion program will be more Sarah's aspect than exactly what you want.
That would be something that, so we have a diversion coordinator now, but that would be something that, this would help with.
Right.
I know that she works with quite a few people, quite a few students in the school.
I was just thinking if there was communication between the two programs, they're able to check in every day.
Right. That would be
Versus-
something really good, and also maybe with your truancy issues.
Like wellness checks and stuff like that. Possibly.
I have one comment and then one question.
Yes.
Comment I have is, I think it's going to be nice and be advantageous for SRO with the fact that now, with that new junior high, we're going to be all one building over there, which is going to make it nicer. Going into the two buildings and so on and so forth. I think that would be very advantageous. My question is, and this has been brought up by board members in the past, would, for better sake or not, would the SRO be involved with like a drug dog?
We do not have a drug dog. I honestly don't see the county itself getting a drug dog anytime in the near future. When you start looking at canine programs, they're highly expensive. The dogs are highly trained. They have a lot of cost to bring in there. But the school resource officer would be a link to do the liaison between either the highway patrol, who has narcotics dogs, or even closer, Pine Ridge has a state certified officer or a state certified narcotics team that we could bring in that's a lot closer to the state. But if the school wanted to, have that drug dog come in on a particular day, the school resource officer would be a great place to liaison between the different agencies. No different than if there's an individual that lives on tribal land and having a liaison between the tribe to address that situation.
Questions? Any more comments? I definitely think that is going to be something that the board's going to look into. The grant thing is a promising plus, let me put it that way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'll come to the next meeting. I'll try and answer any questions you got on my head of time. You let me know. I'm trying to come with the answers to them. But I'll be at your next meeting. If you have any other questions or comments for me.
Well, and I would just indicate to the board, if you do have questions, to come up, get them to me, and I'll get them.
Yeah, we got an open door, so if you ever got questions, just give us a call, stop on, and we'll do our best to answer for you.
I'm assuming there'll be some sort of a contract between
Yeah,
somehow.
there'll have to be the MOU. That is one of the grants. The grant requires it within 90 days, which would be similar to the one
That
we got to Meade County, yes.
Further questions, comments?
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Okay. Item number 133.0, I need a motion to accept the interim superintendent contract for Stacy Halverson from March 26, 2024 to June 30th, 2024 at, $2,800 per week. So motion by Dallas. Do I have a second? Second by Kayla. Board discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, you should have in your files the co-curricular contracts. Okay. Item number 134.0, I need a motion to offer co-curricular contracts for the 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Scott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dallas. Board discussion.
There is a couple in there. One was a retired, somebody that's retiring. The This is Getzinger.
This is getting her, she's interested in.
She's
doing the
interested, okay.
Right,
That's
Yeah, I talked to her, she wants to do it.
good. I was hoping
Yeah.
that's.
And once these go out, what comes back, then we'll start, I mean, I think there's gonna be some shifting, but this is the list as it is right now.
Okay.
And then those will be on the next agenda to change.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 135.0. I entertain a motion to accept the Associated School Boards Protective Trust Worker Compensation Fund renewal and participation agreement for the 2024-2025 school year, an amount of $34,395. Motion by Dallas.
Yeah.
Second?
I'll second.
Second by Caleb. Board discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 136.0, motion to accept Associated School Boards Protective Trust South Dakota District Benefits Fund adoption and renewal participation agreement for 2024-2025 school year.
So
Motion by Dallas, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. Board discussion.
Jolene, did you want to mention what the increase percentage?
No, let's do something.
2%,
It was a total of 2%. I don't
which
know
is
what-
great. Some
Yeah.
schools got a 6% increase, so it's really quite a favorable deal for our district at this year.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to surplus the following the following equipment. 5 Chromebooks, BCHS outdated. 7 iPads, BCHS outdated. 2 color printers, MGS, too expensive to repair. 7 mini splits, heating and cooling units. Basketball hoops, middle school, and middle school lockers. Motion by Caleb, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. Board discussion.
The thought there is, and then we would work up a sealed bid process for people if they wanted to bid on purchasing, especially those middle school items. So we'll be working with Ken and Aaron to come up with what we feel would be the right things to put on the sealed bid. And
Any further discussion?
Are those still the original lockers, most likely, when those kids were in high school?
they're pretty nice lockers.
They're new ones, aren't they? Yeah.
Some we might potentially be using in district as well. We've got some things going, but there will be a number of them that will need to be hopefully surplus to someone else for their use.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 138.0. Motion to accept the 2024-2025 certified and classified contracts.
So moved.
Motion by Scott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dallas. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 139.0. Motion to offer Brady Hicks head BCHS football coach for the 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Scott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Caleb. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 140.0, I need a motion to set the date, time, and location for an informational meeting on the Bennett County School District opt-out.
Okay, the date that I would be proposing that we would do it would be April 30th. Will that work for everyone? April 30th, it's a 6 o'clock time start, and will be in the high school commons area. And that'll be an informational meeting, chance to ask questions about the opt-out, chance to inform the public or whoever would be interested in attending.
Are we limited to how many board members can attend that?
I think we discussed that we'd probably make it a board meeting so the entire board could be there. But at that time, I would not recommend any action. I would just recommend you are there for the presentation, to listen to that, and listen to the questions from the public. And then after that, we'll determine when the next meeting would be if the board so chooses to act on the opt-out. So will that date work? April 30th, 6 o'clock, high school commons area. So that would be the motion then, I guess. Do I want a motion?
Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to hold the meeting on April 30th at 6 p.m. in the high school commons area.
6, right?
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
For the informational meeting on the opt-out.
Correct.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dallas. More discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 141.0. Motion to accept the following resignation. Elsie Wheeler, kindergarten. Motion by Caleb, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Board discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'm going to take a motion to approve the 2024-2025 school calendar.
So moved.
Motion by Scott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Caleb. Board discussion.
I'd just like to mention, I did meet with BCA and their calendar committee, and we developed the calendar that you have there. Few things still up in the air would be, we still do not have any football schedules from the Activity Association, so that will be placed on here. It will be a Friday. They're aware of that. We did some clarification on what would be an early dismissal, what would be a snow day dismissal. I also have visited with Mr. Cotton about prom and trying to set the date on here that avoids the ACT. I also, Michaela's part of the Freshman Impact Committee, it sounds like, and that we won't be having that during that week. So I think that maybe we can clear up some of those concerns. So tentatively, we're looking at prom April 12th. So that's what I'm going to put on the calendar. If nothing else would come up that would be cause us to review that. But if we do have to review it, then I will bring it to the board and we will review it. The ACTs is April 5th, Easter's April 20th. So fits right in there. We do have a school makeup day on the 11th, but when I visited with Mr. Cotton, he thought that was not a problem.
We're good this year. They had a lot of help.
Yes. And if we have the entire week booked off in the calendar, then we maybe won't have to make some of those decisions that I made to allow that. And the open house on the 12th and the 13th, we're in the process of doing a little survey work to see with the staff which would be the best setup. So we can get that on the calendar one of those days.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 143.0. Motion to accept the audit agreement between Bennett County School District and Walford, Ritzman and Company for the 2024, 2025, and 2026 audit years. Motion by Caleb. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 144.0, a motion to accept the volunteer transfer within the district for the 2024-2025 school year. Samantha Hicks, middle school PE to middle school science. Rosalie Loriano, middle school science to Bennett County High School science.
So moved.
Motion by Scott, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kate. Discussion.
And once again, those are volunteer, those are recommendations made by the building principal. I think it's a good decision.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then item number 145.0, motion to authorize membership in the South Dakota High School Activities Association for the 2024-2025 school year.
So
Motion by Dallas, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Caleb. Board discussion.
Just a requirement if we want to participate, so.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I need a motion to change the chain of command for business manager to report directly to the Bennett County School Board.
So moved.
Motion by Scott, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Caleb. Board discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 147.0, motion to offer Vera O'Neill as assistant track coach for the 2023-2024 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Dallas, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Caleb. Board discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 148.0, motion to approve Mike Olson as volunteer golf coach for the 2023-2024 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Caleb. Board discussion. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I abstain. Okay. Motion carried. Item number 149.0. Motion to approve the following contracts for the 2024-2025 school year. Jeffrey Thayer, Bennett County High School math instructor. Stephanie Clausen, middle school sped instructor. Laurel Huddleston, MGS instructor.
So moved.
Motion by Scott. Second?
Second.
Second by Dallas. Board discussion.
Floor would be kindergarten. That's what that position will be.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 150.0. As per Senate Bill 66, during the April 9th, 2024 election, the Bennett County School District held an election on April 9th, 2024. At the time of the election, there were 2,012 registered voters residing in the school district. 404 registered voters voted, which was 20.1% of the voting population. The votes will be canvassed at the April 15th, 2024 school board meeting. That's all I need to know. Okay, item number 151.0. Canvass the votes for April 9th, 2024.
You could just, I think these were uploaded into your team, so you can pass that to the other board members.
You should have that on your teams, I believe.
Those were the official counts from each precinct.
I didn't see it in
There it is, right there, Scott, if you could.
Do we need to sign this?
Yep, everybody, yep.
I guess I need a motion to accept the canvass of the votes for April 9th, 2024 election.
So moved.
Motion by Caleb,
Second.
second by Scott. Board discussion.
The other thing is, part of this and now will be posted on our website as required, so it'll post this exact same information basically that was in 150.
151.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is May 20th our regular meeting? We don't need a motion for that.
Well, it's been on every agenda item for the year, so I would just continue to make motion that that is the date of the regular board meeting.
152.0, I need a motion to set the date and time for May board meeting for May 20th, 2024 at 5 p.m. in the library community room.
So moved.
Motion by Scott, second by Dallas. Board discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I need a motion to enter executive session for personnel matters pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2 and negotiations pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2 and legal issues for pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2. Motion by Dallas, do I have a second by discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Good one, sir.
Take care.
We are in executive session.
Well, we put it on there.
Yeah, I will. I did that first. Just you get the time.
Oh,
We all here?
I think so.
Yep. I got 6:55.
Clear it out.
Okay, I declare us out of executive session at 6:55.
I would like to make a motion to offer Wayne Semler a contract as a consultant to the Bennett County School District.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion, and a second, get the motion? Yep. Can we get the second? Board discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And then Scott second.
Scott, second. Board discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned.